Hey guys, this is Brett Young, Taylor Young, and Rod Erb, and you're tuned in to the Be Extraordinary podcast with Urban Young. Real conversations about business, leadership, and personal development.
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing today? I'm here at the summit with my man TY and our latest Impact Award winner, Mr. Lorenzo Franco. Good morning, guys.
By the way, Lorenzo, were you surprised last night?
I was.
Did you cry?
Yes, I did. I almost did. I was in tears. But that's the first time I am in the podcast and not producing the podcast. So I feel good.
Yeah, you're usually on the other side of the mic, man. It's funny. So
let me just make sure the cameras are recording. Everything good? Awesome.
Always working.
Always working.
That's amazing. We're at Hammock Beach. You know, Rod mentioned it's a live edition of the Be Extraordinary podcast. We finished an incredible first day, and really a second day. Leadership came in Thursday night, and just rich times, a lot of dancing, a lot of fun. But highlighted last night, the award show, Adam Cellini and Tori Scarborough absolutely murdered. It was incredible. The right amount of humor, you had people emotionally involved, just everyone in the palm of their hand. But was capped off by our Impact Award. It's the highest esteemed award since inception. And it's really the person that is kind of that unsung hero that you can't even measure sometimes how much impact they're having within the organization. So congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, man,
Thank
congratulations.
you.
Huge deal. Why don't you bring us up to speed, Lorenzo, kind of on your journey here for the listener at home. I think it'd be fun to kind of highlight just a quick bio where you came from when you started and kind of where you're at now.
So when I got at Urban Young, I was 19 years old. I remember the day that I got in, I was with shorts and a hoodie, and Brett looked at me like, what is this guy like doing here? I went for an interview, and they were like surprised because the way I was dressing. And then for real, because that was my first interview, I never had a job before, so I didn't know I didn't know what to do. And then I used to make videos for YouTube. So at that time, I already had 400,000 followers on YouTube, 500,000 on TikTok, on Instagram, 70,000 followers. I was making videos about my life, how it is a Brazilian to live in the United States. So I didn't have a job because that was the job. It was by myself. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, I remember I was talking to Brett. He gave me some stuff to do, some tasks. I did all of them. And then you guys hired me when I was 19. And then I started working at Urban Young and producing all the content and everything. And now I'm 23, so it's 4 to 5 years that I'm with you guys. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, that's
Unbelievable,
amazing,
man.
Give it up for
Yes.
Lorenzo. I can't believe it's been that long. I wanted you to share. I remember your first summit though, because you kept making fun of my gangly fingers holding a drink.
He was holding a drink like this.
And it was like, he was like
I don't know why.
And it was funny. It was like, how like the new guy is ripping on you and you're like, hey, is that too soon? Like, you just got here, man. You're making fun of me already. But I wanted you to share, and we've had conversations. What you guys don't know with content is that Brett was doing a lot of the editing. We had outsourced a portion of it, but really the vision is can we get this internal and kind of make it a business within a business, right? That theme continues to show up, and so Lorenzo's gone from a 19-year-old, never had a job interview, to literally we're business partners, right? He has his business called Magic Creative, which is the post-production side of the content, from anything that we shoot after that and posting and so on and so forth. So we're partnered with that, growing that. He's hiring. Miguel's here. Luke's, it's just fun to watch. So that's a little bit of a clue, as we say. But I wanted to share why you took the job here, why you continue to work here. Because one thing became clear is that Lorenzo didn't need this job. That's for sure. I don't even think he was looking to get the job, right? I think he was more satisfying a friend that introduced him, and he was like, okay, I'll check this out, whatever. I'll wear a hoodie and show up, and we'll see what happens. So why don't you share a little bit about kind of why this opportunity still fires you up and kind of why you took the job?
Cool. So yeah, I wasn't looking for a job at all, 100%. But in my life, I just feel like everything that I do, I need to learn something. So if I'm not learning, I'm losing the time to grow. You know what I'm saying? So in everything that I do, I need to learn something new. And that was something new that I had to learn. I remember 2 months after, like I was already at Urban Young, 19 years old, 2 months, I went to Melbourne with Brett. And then I was talking to him in the car. And then I told him, I'm already learning how to be like disciplined. I have to wake up that time. I need to be at the office. I need to do all of that stuff. And before, because I was working by myself, I could do the time I wanted to do. But if you do stuff at the time that you want to do, you lose the traction to grow. So sometimes you need to do stuff that you don't want to do, but you have to do. And that's something that I started learning at Urban Young. And a lot more. But everything that I do in my life, I need to learn something. So I was 2 years at Urban Young. I was 2 years at Urban Young doing content, videos, all that. And then I was like, what else can I do to grow more? What else can I learn? And then that's why I created Magic Creative. Now I need to become a businessman, and then I need to learn how to do business, not only be an employee. And then after that, I was like, now we need to grow for the IOs. So let's create marketing for that. And then we keep learning, and that's basically the lifestyle that I follow. Sometimes there's stuff, thanks so much. Sometimes there's stuff that I don't need to for now, but I gotta learn for the future. So I do it.
That is so wise. That is so wise, Lorenzo. You talk about that discipline. That discipline is completely on display. I've never heard you talk like that. I mean, I knew that was something, but for you to be able to articulate that like that to me is super, super impressive. I remember when I was 19, I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
What
were you thinking about?
I mean, I was probably just looking for the next driving range.
So, one thing too, it's almost like a meta skill that you have set this intention. Because, Lorenzo finds himself in the rooms a lot of times, the war room, as we'll call it, like where Brett, Rod, and I, or Jessica, we're having debates or we're having high levels of conflict and conversation. And he kind of has always said to us on privately to say, man, like I love being a sponge in this, because kind of to the point of like, I may not need to know it now, but stuff like hiring and the interview process and recruiting, and he starts to ask questions, and you do a really good job of staying curious. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Lorenzo is the youth leading pastor. Can you please share with them what you do with your church? He's a part of a massive church. Give us the background, kind of how and what you do. But he's an incredibly dynamic speaker and travels all over the world. And obviously English isn't his first language. And so if you watch these videos that he puts up online, I mean, he commands a room and has a presence and has a major skill in speaking.
Thousands of people in the congregation. 2,000 people sometimes in the congregation. And I think too, Tay, sorry, I know you asked a question, I want to hear it, but I think it'd be fun for the listeners to hear him in Portuguese, right?
We can do that later.
Yeah.
We can do that later, for sure.
Lucas can maybe hop up in my chair. Let's do this. We got a few minutes. We'll continue to rip. I want you to answer that question. But Lucas, maybe at the end, if you can give a parting message to the group, whatever's on your heart or whatever's on your heart, and you do it in Portuguese, and then Lucas can translate for us.
All right, we can do that. So I grow up at church. My parents, they were not pastors, but they were leaders at church. So I grew up at church all my life, everything. My parents always taught me,
instilled in you, taught you, yeah.
They taught me how to always produce, always give, always do more, always be excellent. So since I was 12 years old, 10 years old, I was with them doing the work at church. So I grew up in that environment, doing everything. And when I moved to Orlando, I was 18 years old, And then I went to this church, and then I started serving that church. And I used to stay on the camera in the back. And then one day the pastor saw me and brought me in to do the preaching and everything with him. But I always did that because of YouTube, because I always talk to people. Like, microphone's not a problem for me. Mm-hmm. English is.
You're doing pretty good.
I'm trying my best. Thank you. Y yo hablo poquito español también, sí.
Go ahead, keep going.
And then I started serving with him, leading. So I was leading for 4 years under that pastor. And then on February, that pastor moved to another service. Mm-hmm. And then me and my wife, we were nominated to be the youth pastor at our church. And we have been doing that since February. And it's been so amazing. Like, I preach every Saturday, basically. So today there's a service at night. I have someone preaching tonight, but we got like 400 teenagers at church. And I'm also the pastor of the church. So I'm the youth pastor, but also the pastor, right? Like, I'm a pastor. And then on Sundays, when the main pastor is not there, or there's no one to like preach, sometimes I do preach at Sundays. We got an audience we have 3 services on Sunday because the room only fits 1,200. So we need 3 services like to everybody. So it's a big church in Orlando, but it's also a global church. So we have more than 700 churches around the world. I was in Brazil 3 weeks ago for the global conference, and was 7,000 pastors and leaders there. And that's something like I just want to mention that because the president pastor lives in Orlando, and he's the pastor of my local church. Everything that we do in Orlando becomes like a replica for all the other churches. So it's a lot of responsibility at a young age, because I'm 23, but everything that I do, all the other youth pastors, they copy the same thing. They do the same type of service, worship, preaching, the message. So yeah, that's my life. That's what I'm doing.
Lorenzo, I want to hit on something you just said, where you were a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
In Brazil. You told me about that event.
In São Paulo.
São Paulo. Can you tell us about that event? Number one, he's right at home, obviously in front of a microphone. But number two, he's right at home putting on big events, right? A weekly church service that he shows up to and probably has a hand in setting up and making sure everything's working and understands the workings of putting on a big production. Talk to us about that event in Brazil, and I was amazed when you shared with me how many were there, what your budget was, how you took that budget, all the different teams that worked for you and answered to you to put that event on.
That one that you're talking about, I think, is the summer camp.
Yeah.
The one that we just had for the youth. We were in Vero Beach, and we had 400 teenagers for the youth camp. We had a budget of $160,000. And then we had the whole team, like I got a leader, for example, the same way you guys do the core team and the field and all that, we have the same thing at church. So I got a group of people who do the media, who do the finance part, who do the logistics, and then we take care of that so it can happen. It was a 2-night event, so it was the whole weekend, and was pretty good. It was very nice.
So I want to ask you, and then before I'm going to get off stage, and Lucas, you can come do your thing as a parting ways. But I want to ask you, so like we've talked about it, and I know faith is a big part of your life, and a couple of our speakers mentioned that yesterday, but you've talked about these skills where you're learning them before you need it, and I find it so interesting that's like, if you catch this theme, it's like, I'm behind the camera, I'm going to do a really good job, and I'm going to do my best with content and post-production, and then boom, now all of a sudden speaking, I'm going to do a really good job. And then all of a sudden now you're learning how to run big events, and I'm going to do a really good job. I'm learning how to hire, and you're learning all these different skills almost in a way to prepare yourself for your future self.
Yes.
How do you kind of hold that, and why do you approach it in that way, and what can we learn from that skill stacking?
Great question. I got a saying that I have for me, that it's what I'm living today. It's not even the shadow of what's to come. Mm-hmm. So it's like what I live now. It's not even the beginning of what I will live. And then when I have this for me, everything that I do, I really want to learn a little bit of everything, and not just a little bit, but I want to master what I learn. I want to get the best from it. So when I see myself today, I cannot do this event now. I don't have people to watch me. I don't have people like, right now I'm not a famous guy who can go in a stage and do a big event. But I don't know if I will be in 10 years. But in 10 years, I will be ready to do that because I learned. You know what I'm saying? So everything that I do at work, with camera, preaching, speaking, talking with businessmen, all this environment, I'm learning stuff for the future. I'm planting seeds, so I know in the future I will have some good fruits to eat.
Wow, yeah,
that is impressive, man. Impressive. What I'd like to do, I'm going to ask a quick question, but I don't know if anybody in the audience has got anything that they'd like to ask or wonder about with Lorenzo. Lorenzo, so just be thinking about that. I'm going to go here in a second. If we can get a mic ready. I have one right here, T.Y. I'm curious, Lorenzo, given the Impact Award, your feeling on the Impact Award, well, let me ask you this. What is your, inside of our business, as Taylor kind of said, framing it up, this is an award we're not looking at a spreadsheet to see a production number or a service number or, a number of tasks closed. I mean, this award, and with everybody that was nominated this year, these are kind of feel awards, right? And then if there's areas we can quantify the award, we certainly do that. But talk to us a little bit about, number one, your feeling of the Impact Award, realizing how much impact you have made. You've built an entire department with, obviously you and Brett have worked extremely close. You've built an entire department, and I don't want to steal any thunder, but the impact that department has had on this business and stands to have on every single person's business, I don't think, if you're sitting in the audience or if you're listening, I don't think you can quantify the amount of lift that has meant to us, right? That it's meant for you in your business. So I'm just curious, nominated, win the Impact Award, kind of talk to us about, your feeling of that impact.
Can I be 100% honest?
Please.
I'm almost crying when I say that because, 2 years ago, I was invited from the president of Brazil to go to his house in Brazil. And then I was there. It's like the White House, but in Brazil. And then I was there with the president. We had a afternoon and all that. And it's like I was nominated to be there, right? It's like an award. I was thinking my parents won't go there, like never, because the president needs to see the person and invite the person to his house. But yesterday, I thought about that. I was thinking about that. But when I went there to see the president, he got me there because the stuff that he saw, like probably online and all the events, a leader at church. But when I got nominated yesterday for the Impact Award, and I got the award, it meant a lot for me because you guys know my daily life. So he doesn't know my daily life. He doesn't know what I do daily. But you guys know what I do daily. But you guys also know what everybody here does daily. And then when I got the Impact Award, it was very impactful for me because you guys know me deep well. And for me to be in that position, I felt very, very, very honorable. That word.
Honored,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are impressive, man. We've always said that. We've always felt that. But just seeing you here kind of command this microphone right now, it's super impressive.
I have one more thing to say.
Please, yes.
The person that makes the most impact in my life, it is my wife. So it was a very nice surprise that you guys did yesterday, bringing her to the stage. And what I want to encourage you guys to have, I mean, if you can have a wife, amazing. That's great. But what I want to encourage you guys to have is someone next to you that can confront, like can battle with you for the good. So it's hard to go deep on English, but I will try.
So where's Miguel or where's Lucas? Go.
No, but I got that. I got that one.
All right. I'm anxious to hear you rip and.
No, I got that one. So when I go back to Genesis and I see the beginning of the world, God created the whole thing, and then He created man. And after He created man, He said, it's not good for you to be alone, so I will create a woman. When we see that part of the Bible, we always think about being like wife and like the couple. But sometimes it doesn't need to be a couple. When God created the woman to be part of man's life, basically He's giving the man some trouble. Like he was alone, he had nothing to do, he needs some trouble, right?
Oh man!
But it's like, no, listen. But that word, when you go to study and you go to the Greek, and then you see the meaning of that word, He creates a opposite person to conflict with you, so you can go to bigger places. And then I'm not only talking about wife in here, but I'm talking also about friends. Who sits next to you? So in this company, I see that we have friends that also, we have fun, we play, but we also grow. Like we make fun, but also, oh, come on, take this call, do that better, get this feedback. That's something that I feel in here, and that's why we grow a lot, because we need people who gonna conflict with us, but for the better.
Man, oh man, that's amazing, Lorenzo. That's amazing. Anybody have anything that's on their mind they'd like to ask Lorenzo? Anybody? Any questions? No questions? There we go. Adam. Look at Taylor running today. I love it. Careful those feet, man.
And so, I admire a trait in you that, I'd like to build myself, and I think it just surrounds problem solving. I'm curious if you have a thoughtful approach to problem solving in your daily life, like an actual strategy for it.
People don't like problems, but that's what makes people grow. So when, how do you say Solomon, a Bible, he asks for wisdom to God. After some chapters, you're gonna see that two women approached to him with a baby, saying that they are the mother of the baby. So he has to deal with this problem. So the seed for wisdom, it's called problems. The more problems you have, the more you grow. And that's basically answering why, like Taylor asked me, why do you do all this stuff? Because I need more problems. The more problems I have, the more solutions I got. Because if you don't have problems, you don't have solutions. So I need more problems. I need to deal with people. I need to deal with them. I need to deal with the camera. I need to deal with the event. I need to deal with the lighting. I need to do the more stuff that I have problems to do and to deal, more solutions I get, and more skin in the game I have to play the game. So one thing that basically that's it. So I love problems. Problems doesn't take me like, I like them. I like to solve problems. And I do this quick. I don't take too long. Problems are meant to be solved. But I have to be intentional on what I do. The more intentional you are, the more you can distort timing to success. So for example, if I want to learn English and I spend 1 minute a day, I will probably take 20 years to do that. But if I spend 2 hours a day learning English, I will probably learn in 5 years, 6 years. But if I move to America and I stay with people that speak English the whole day, I will learn English way faster. So the environment you are and the intentionality you put in, you can do more stuff in less time. And that's basically what I do with problems.
Very good. Very good. I see Emmer. That's an amazing, great question. Great question, Adam, but what an amazing answer, dude. What an amazing answer. Emmer.
So, congratulations again. I want to keep it simple, but I mean, just working with you over the years and seeing, just watching this and watching you evolve into this young man who has seemingly figured out success, but is still learning, and your humbleness, it's really inspiring. But what was your first sort of project on the media side? Can you kind of explain to us how you got into media and why that was a passion for you?
So I was 12 years old, and then my grandmother gave me a computer, and then I downloaded a software, and then I started editing. I wasn't I didn't get in front of the camera, so I put my young brother. I have a younger brother. He was the main guy, and I used to do the whole thing. I did his script, camera, editing. I created a YouTube channel for him. He used to do like challenge. So he went in the city and he used to do challenge with people and asking questions, all that. And we were like very young. But then when I moved to America, I got that channel for me because he didn't know how to do anything. So I got a channel for me, and that's when I started producing content. But that was the beginning. With him, I was recording stuff. Right now, when you see like gameplays on YouTube and you see like video game and you watch it, they record the screen, they screen record. I used to do that back then, but I used to put my phone to record the TV. And then I used to record the TV and talk very close to the microphone so they can hear me doing the gameplay. But that was the beginning. I was just playing. I was very, very young, but I was already learning something that I could use in the future.
How about that answer? Great. Anybody else? Jessica.
Come on, Jessica.
Lorenzo, I think you and I had our first summit together in 2020, and while we were in Brett and Taylor's parents' amazing hot tub for many, many hours, we had a lot of great convo, but I learned a lot about you that night. But one thing that you said to me that night was you said you weren't sure how long you were going to stay at Urban Young because you had a lot of big things planned, and specifically something in California that you were interested in at the time. That was like right after you started with us. So my question to you is, looking back then, you just got started with us, probably didn't really know what the heck we were all about yet, but a little bit, but obviously you stayed. So what made you stay at Urban Young against going out and doing something else?
Because I didn't stop on what I was doing. I grow. So if I don't grow, it doesn't make sense for me anymore. I need to go to a place and learn everything that I need from that place. If I don't grow more, that place, it's not what I belong anymore. And then that's basically what me, Taylor, Rod, and Brad, we were talking some months ago when I started Magic Creative, when we started doing the program for marketing for the IOs, we started to grow. So when I see that there's this space to grow, then it makes sense for me. And then at the time, I was just looking at myself as like the social media guy. But then now we're creating the whole team to serve more than 10 IOs that we already have. And then we're gonna grow more and more. We're gonna have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 IOs. And the team gonna grow, and there's a company growing way, way, way more with that. And then that's basically why I chose to stay at Urban Young. And because I always tell them, when I'm in that room, the war room, I'm always learning with them so much. And there was one day that Brad was like, bro, someone deposited a check on your account by accident. And then I told them, just leave it there because it's so. And then I told him, that was like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't see the check. I didn't see the amount. I didn't see on my bank transactions. And then I told Brad, I was like, man, I'm not here for money. I'm here for learning. Like, I need to learn, I need to get knowledge, and I need to execute. If I don't do that, I don't care, because I really, really, really believe that money, it's a consequence, like it's the outcome of what you do. So you need to do very well. You need to be excellent on what you do so you can have that outcome.
How many people wish their kids were sitting here?
Wow. I just wanted to piggyback, and then Rod, you'll probably close us out here due to time. But gosh, we could do this forever because I've always wanted to privately have you on the podcast, and he's always a little resistant. And because you are a wealth of knowledge, some of our best conversations I've had with anybody in this business have been with you in that room, ripping. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to share your thoughts on problems, your thoughts on skill stacking, your thoughts on, does anybody ever, I get in this phase sometimes like, man, we get paid to do this. Like we get paid to work on ourselves and grow and learn new skills. And certainly we all need to make money. But I just love that mentality to where you know that the money will come if you create the value and continue to work on yourself. So
That's equity, right? You create value and then you get the money after.
I think about a 30-minute podcast that we've been going about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than 30 minutes.
I think that's the right word for me. I love equity. Like business, you're building equity, so in the future you get the money. So there's a startup, that startup, it's building equity, and then in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's valuated for 10 billion and whatever. That's myself, like I'm my own company. Yep. So the more I grow, the more equity I'm building.
Oof, that's amazing good. Right there. Yeah. I was just going to point out, we've done a lot of episodes of the podcast, and we have a lot of very, very, very rich episodes. But I'm just thinking to myself, in 30 minutes, there have been more nuggets and more noteworthy answers that you've that should be put in our notes. For that was my point. Than in most hour and a half podcasts I listen to. I mean, you get right to the point. You've got great basis behind the point. It's just super, super impressive. So we're going to wrap up in Portuguese. So we need Lucas up here. In Portuguese.
Come on, bro.
Why don't you bring us home on what you're most excited about? Bring us home on any plans you have going on, and just something useful for the audience to take with them today.
Vamos lá então.
Let's go then.
Agora ficou difícil, cara.
Now this is the hard part.
O que eu diria para você é nunca fique sozinho.
What I can say to you is never be alone.
Quando você fica sozinho, você não tem espaço para poder crescer.
Because when you're alone, you don't have space to grow.
Quando você fica sozinho, você não tem pessoas para poder contribuir para você.
When you're alone, you don't have other people to contribute in your life.
Por isso que cultura, ela acontece quando a gente está junto com as outras pessoas.
That's why culture happens when we're together with other people.
Porque quando a gente se junta com outra pessoa, a gente consegue pegar o melhor dela e também entregar o nosso melhor.
Because when we're together with someone, we can give our best and also get the best out of the person.
Quando eu olho para Jesus, que é a pessoa que para mim é a maior referência que existe.
When we look at Jesus, that for me is the biggest reference that we have.
Eu olho para ele se entregando como um sacrifício vivo para nós.
I see him giving himself as a living sacrifice for us.
E ele não precisava fazer isso, não tinha por que ele fazer isso.
He didn't have to do it. There wasn't a reason for him to do it.
Mas ele fez isso por amor.
But he did it for love.
Então, quando eu tô vivendo a minha vida,
so when I'm living my life,
eu também preciso ser um sacrifício vivo por amor para as pessoas que estão próximas de mim.
I also have to be a living sacrifice from love to everyone around me.
Então é por isso que eu faço as coisas que eu faço e eu entrego aquilo que eu entrego.
That's why I do the things that I do and I give the things that I give.
Porque eu preciso ser um sacrifício para todos vocês.
Because I have to be a sacrifice for all of you here.
E é por isso que eu amo vocês.
That's why I love you guys.